How to supercharge your creativity. The researcher Niklas Luhmann, who died in 1998, is credited with inventing the so-called Zettelkasten, which is German for slip box. His Zettelkasten contained around 90,000 index cards with ideas on them. Niklas Luhmann was an extremely prolific writer, and according to Wikipedia, he said that the Zettelkasten were the reason he could be so prolific in his writing. It is essential to take note of this if you are in a field where generating ideas is important. Like, for example, in the arts, where coming up with new ideas is, of course, important. When people explain his Zettelkasten method, they tend to start with how he encoded it. Each index card has a unique number based on an indexing hierarchy, and while it's interesting, it isn't the key idea behind Zettelkasten. Each index card needs to be assigned a unique identifier and then filed away in the right order so that it can be found again with that unique identifier. The unique identifier can be any system that you can come up with, but it is perhaps useful to have some sort of hierarchy so that you can easily find ideas based on the topic. In his original approach, ideas had numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. at the root. If he wanted to branch away, he would add a letter like 1A, 1B, or 1C. If he wanted to branch away from, say, 1B, he would use a number again like 1B, 1B2, 1B3, etc. But you can use words too. For example, drawing, drawing-tools, drawing-exercises, etc. The coding method itself is not the key feature of the method. Here is the key idea you should know. You go about your day and you have ideas during the day. You write them down anywhere you can in the moment. You can write them on your phone or in a notebook or bits and pieces of paper. Then, at the end of the day, you collect all these ideas. You go through the ideas one by one and take your time to try to connect them to ideas you already have in your Zettelkasten. You try to combine each new idea with as many ideas as you can, ideas that you already had, as possible. When you combine ideas, you can arrive at surprising and interesting new insights, perspectives, and points of view. The value isn't in the number of ideas, but in the combining of seemingly unrelated ideas. This is the key idea. Connect as many ideas as possible to this new idea. You don't need to try to capture as many ideas as possible. Instead, you try to create as many new links between ideas as possible. And that is it. That is the main idea I think is behind Zettelkasten. You don't have to use Zettelkasten for it though. Cartoonists sometimes write things on pieces of paper, then move these bits of paper around to see if a juxtaposition of two ideas on a bits of paper can generate a new and hopefully funny insight. Combining ideas leads to original and interesting new points of view. Marshall Vandroff does that a lot in his courses. He combines apparently different things to come up with a novel new way of looking at things, and it tends to result in a mind-blowing insight. Marshall's courses are valuable not only because they present fascinating and original new insights, but also because if you observe carefully, you can see hints of the methods he uses to research topics, methods you can use to dive into new topics autonomously yourself. In his Bridgman course, Marshall contemplates the fact that George Bridgman taught in the same building as Kimon Nicolaides. These teachers had radically different teaching styles, and Marshall tried to imagine what it must have been like for students to be taught by both teachers during the same period. To understand how Bridgman lessons were received by the students, It was interesting to think about how they must have experienced the lessons from both teachers. In his composition course, Marshall had his students draw their own studio for him. He looked at one of the drawings of the studio of a student. The studio had a drawing table and a machine for a physical workout. Marshall said, "Oh, body and mind, yin and yang." He had again combined ideas. Composition is about design, but his point was that you can design everything in your life, your workspace and your daily schedule, etc. He combined it with the ideas of yin and yang, highlighting the need for balance between two extremes. Combining ideas can give surprising, highly enlightening new insights, and that is what you need to take away from the Zettelkasten method. Don't try to come up with as many ideas as possible, but rather with as many links between ideas that generate interesting new points of view as possible. Check out the Practice Drawing This website, where I host lots of drawing practice resources which you cannot find anywhere else. Thank you for listening.